Here we have a 1960s GM Frigidaire large capacity unit, 16,000 BTU. It's sitting here in repose in my garage. Starting to do the restore on it. It was in good shape when I got it, but it needed a little work, just cleanup basically. It was mounted through a public building in a common area, and it was mounted through the wall such that it hung out nearby ground level because this building was kind of partially built into a hill. So where this was about 2 feet off the ground on the outside. So basically for years, decades I should say, lawnmowers and Mother Nature paid their fair share of hell against this thing. You know, exhausting grass clippings in through the vents and whatnot. So it was pretty dirty when I got it, but now, as you can see, it's pretty clean. I spent maybe a half an hour cleaning it up, spraying it out with water, and I haven't done anything else to it really. I mean, there's nothing on it that needs to be sanded or painted other than the case. Everything on the chassis and inside all the mechanical parts are in good shape. We'll look at it right here. I'm going to fire this unit up tomorrow. I'm not going to do it right now because it's really late at night, and here's another reason. That's a 220 volt 20 amp plug, and I didn't have anything like that in house. I have a couple 220 outlets in my house, but they're both occupied. One's for the dryer in the basement, which has a NEMA 10-30R 220 volt 30 amp plug, and the other one is a huge 50 amp range plug, which is behind my stove, so that's not going to do anybody any good. So what I did today was I built an adapter for that, so that I bought a NEMA 10-30R receptacle and adapted it to this 220 volt 20 amp plug. And I know that's not conventional or anything like that, but I'm not really going to be using this unit. I just got this so I could fire it up for the video and to see if it actually worked or not. I haven't fired it up yet, so I don't know if it works, so it'll be a good test tomorrow. But judging by the condition of this thing, it does work. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. Everything's in good shape. There's no oil anywhere. Usually when there's oil all over, it's a good indication that the compressor or the coiling, the tubing has failed. And if the oil is leaked out, then there's a great chance so has the refrigerant. So we don't see that anywhere here in this unit. Looking at it on the side here, here's a cool thing. It's got a wiring diagram. It's weathered and hard to see. I can take individual photos of it and email it to anyone who's interested. You can see part of it there. I mean, I got the flash on my phone here because it's hard to see in the garage at night. So let's just go over this thing a little bit here. This is a very well-built unit. In 1969, I believe this thing was manufactured, according to what I was told. I'll give the serial number in a second, and that can either be confirmed or denied. Sorry about the smoke. As some of you may know by now, I'm a big cigar fan, and I smoke my cigars while I hang out in the garage, and that's also where I make these videos, so it just is what it is. So let's take a look at it. There's a big old fan motor in there. Let's spin the fan. Metal fan blade, 1, 2, 3, 6 blade condenser fan. Let's spin it. Obviously the motor's still good. There's that fan spins freely. No squeaking, no grinding to a halt, no nothing. Everything is metal on this unit. Look at this. It's all sheet metal, it looks like. Or like that. I'm not a contractor. I don't know too much about materials, but it looks like the same kind of material that they used to make air ducts out of. Maybe it's aluminum, I'm not sure. But as chassis is in good shape, there's minimal rust for this unit being 50 years old nearly. You can look back through there. Here's the compressor. As you can see, I don't know if you can see that on the top there, it's a Tecumseh AJA compressor. Most of it is faded out, but you can see the AJA. I don't know, the rest of the numbers are gone, so I don't know exactly what model this is, but it's a 220 volt Tecumseh reciprocating compressor, and given its height, I would probably imagine that it's a 2-cylinder, although I don't know for sure. Interesting thing about this is it on the service port here, the charge point, it's got a cap. So let's take the cap off and see what's underneath. It looks like some kind of valve cover. I don't want to take it off for fear that I don't really know what it is, you know what I mean? It doesn't look to be a Schrader valve, but there could be one underneath that nut. So, you know, this thing may be serviceable, I don't know. Although usually when they are, they have Schrader valves on the high and low side, but this one doesn't, so you never know. I'll put that rubber cap back on. Right, we found it. Here's the condenser side. 3-layer condenser coil. There's the coils themselves, very good shape, no dings or anything, and that's because the case covers. I'll get to the case in a second. So here we are. Here's the discharge line of the compressors in good shape. This thing right here, originally it looked like almost like a small dryer filter or something like that, but on closer inspection, it actually is like a piece of rubber material that's just on there, and I think that the designers who designed this really put that on there as a precaution against. It's not even close, you see, but maybe some of them are closer than others just to manufacturing tolerances or whatever. But to prevent the coil or the tube from vibrating against the shroud here on the condenser coil and damaging it, which is a good idea. There's the condenser's in good shape. Here's where it comes out. There's the capillary tube. Comes through down into the evaporator section over here. There's the evaporator side. Controls, 3 controls. I'm going to try my best to show you. I'll show you more of this tomorrow when I make the video in the daylight outside. But this is just a preliminary. Here's the master controller. You got cooling, high fan, low cool, high cool, basic. Now this thing is called jet air vent, and it's on the other side. It's one of those goofy things where it allows the unit to blow exhaust air out into the condenser side and exhaust the air outward. But there's a knob for the thermostat. Mark of excellence, GM Frigidaire right there. Thermostat line right over there. Sensor. I'm gonna try my best to show you the serial number and all that stuff. It's hard to get my hand in here. I'm sorry. I'll show you again tomorrow. Like I said, the serial number is 20Y44269. GM Frigidaire. Look inside there is a metal squirrel cage fan like usual. Okay, here's the case. GM Frigidaire case. I slid it out of the case. It slides out very easily. I'll slide it back in tomorrow. I do have to spend some time kind of restoring the case here. It's just got some wear and tear. Nothing major though. It just needs to, you know, some parts need to be. This right here is damaged, but there's nothing I can do about that. But that's okay. Just have to repaint it, basically. Very lightweight case. It's made of almost like thin aluminum or something. Let's look over here. There's the jet air vent right there coming out. You can see dumps into there. There's some styrofoam down there. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm anxious to fire this baby up tomorrow. Like I said, it was not going to happen tonight thanks to the lateness of the hour and the fact that I need to get this closer to my house so I can hook up the adapter cord I made for it. Here's the front grill. I'll put it up here real quick. Standard. Nothing special. You know, this thing was in a cafeteria. That's like what it was for a public building. Big room. There's 2 of these. One of them was a Fetters, and I actually had the Fetters unit. It was a big 18,000 BTU 70s Fetters unit that was very similar in design to this. I scrapped it because it was in terrible condition when I got it. The capacitors were blown up. There was so much oil in the bottom. There's actually physically a big hole in the compressor. You can see it in the bottom. Something actually, you know, the compressor rotted out completely. The housing on the outside. So there's no refrigerant left, no oil left. I couldn't even start it up. I wouldn't even try to start it up. I mean, it probably would have. The motor, I'm sure, was seized in the compressor. The fan motor spun, but that was about it. So here's the front grill, front plastic grill. Just, you know, your typical 4-direction control, one, you know, up, down, left, right. But it is separated into 2 sections, the right side and the left side. There's Frigidaire. Nice looking unit. I mean, this thing is built like a tank. Product of General Motors USA. Back when most of the major automakers had operations in appliances, it seemed like. We had GM and Frigidaire, we had Chrysler, Air Temp, some of the other ones I can think of, like, man, I don't know. Oh, Ford. Ford had Philco. But other than that, I can't really... You know, then you had your Japanese manufacturers. You had Mitsubishi and stuff like that. But yeah, there's the case. 2 side vents on each side. The typical GM Frigidaire back plain grill right here. Unit's solid as a rock. 16,700 BTUs is what the data plate says. So tomorrow, in the daylight, I will make another video of it running. But thanks for watching. Any questions, please feel free to comment.